What is your body count?
36. I mean, I be f***ing, you know?
How old are you?
19.
Jesus Christ.
Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. I am currently out looking for land for the men's retreat. Haven't found too much luck yet. A lot of it is very hilly or kind of swampy in the price range that I'm looking to spend. But so far we're making progress. We'll find something here very, very soon. But while I was out here, I actually posted this to Twitter last night, and it's something I wanted to talk a little bit more about today because I see something that is still occurring, and I'm kind of confused about it. Maybe you guys can help me understand a little bit. I want you to imagine you're going in for a minimum wage job. You know it's minimum wage. They're going to pay you the least amount they can legally by law. That's what they've agreed to pay you. Yet they want you to have a 4-year degree, and they want you to be able to be on call 24/7, and they want you to be able to take no vacation. You don't get any medical aid or medical insurance. You don't get any no benefits, no bonuses, nothing. All you get is minimum wage, but you have to have a ton of requirements to get it. And then on top of that, you've got men's channels that are giving you advice on the best way to get that job. Now, if you were to ask yourself, well, that's kind of stupid. Why would I need a 4-year degree and jump through all these hoops just for a minimum wage job? And why would men's channels be advertising to help me do that? That's stupid. Why don't they tell us actually how to succeed in life or do something better? Now, who I'm specifically calling out here, it's not really calling out, because I don't want to call out Myron Gaines is who I'm speaking of over on Fresh and Fit. I don't want to call him out because a lot of what he says makes sense. I think a lot of what he says is actually good. But what I don't understand is this fascination with men and men's channels where they want to push you to lie, coerce, and better yourself, or lie to women, I guess I should say, and coerce and become a better man and raise your social market value for whores, for women that are not going to accept you in your natural state without you pretending to be something you're not, just to what, sleep with them and maybe catch something. Here's the post that I'm actually relating to. I'll post it up here on the screen so you can see it. This Diane Yap says, I would rather be a temporary fleshlight for a 9 or a 10 than a permanent sex and housekeeper for a 5. I'm sure most women feel this way. And this is kind of the point that we've been making, isn't it? That women would rather just be passed around by 9s and 10s and used and dumped and literally be a receptacle for all these guys. God knows how many things these women catch. They also catch single children and become single mothers. That's another thing they catch. But this is the whole point, is how many of them are doing this and admitting to doing it. They do not want you as an average man. They only want the top 10%ers. Here's another example, and this is a slightly different post here, but here's another perfect example.
I did everything they said that was going to make me happy. I built a career. I got my own place. I went on solo trips like a pro, the best hotels, flying business, you name it, right? The works. And I stayed independent, but it was very lonely. I feel very lonely all the time. Don't get me wrong, like being strong got me very far in my career, and I'm very proud of everything that I've done, but I'm done pretending that I'm okay, because I'm not.
She admits feminism is doing women wrong, that telling them, oh, you can have all the things and you can do whatever you want, and all of a sudden you're going to end up aged out and alone. And only do they come to realize it too late. So this woman that says, oh, I'd rather be passed around by all the top men than rather find an average guy for myself. By the way, this is what she actually looks like. Somebody dug up a photo of her in her threads and actually found when she had snapped a picture of herself doing something. As you can see, yes, she'd be lucky to be passed around by 9s and 10s. Let me read Myron's tweet, and then you'll understand what I'm talking about. He says, are the male blue pill simps starting to believe me yet? 90% of men are invisible to women, and they would rather be a whore to a top guy than a queen to an average guy. This is why you must keep your SMV high and have multiple women, or at least the impression you have them, as a reminder to your women that she can be replaced and is inferior to you, what her natural hypergamy wants. Trust me, I wish hypergamy was not real, but this is the ugly truth about female nature. You can either understand them or respect them as equals, but you can't do both. And he got about 3,500 likes on this, which, again, is fine. But here's the argument I have against this, and it's always the argument I have. He says, well, you got to let them know you have other women, or actually have other women, and you need to treat them a certain way, and you need to prove that you have high SMV. You have to prove to them that you have that, and then they'll want you. Okay, again, that is like walking into a job that is advertising that they want somebody for minimum wage, and you go in there and you lay down your resume, and it's got great resume, and your work history, great work history, and you've got lots of references, and you can show how all this productivity that you've done for other companies and how you demand to have this minimum wage job, and they say, I'll take it. They'll hire you, and then you get the job. And you find out it's a horrible job. And you find out, wow, they really do pay minimum wage. And wow, I am really way overqualified for this job. I don't want this job. That's literally what Myron is doing for these women. He says, have high value for ugly women. Prove that you have high value, and maybe that you make good money, or maybe that you have other women waiting on the side for you, and then she'll want you. But why do you want them? That is my question. Why do you want them? And if you say, oh, it's not to date him, it's just to smash. Do you really want to jump through a bunch of hoops and faking you, or maybe working real hard so you actually have high value, to prove to these women that you're worth their selection, and then they select you, and just so you can say, ha, smashed, and then you bounce? Why are you bothering to sleep with these losers? Why are you bothering to jump through the hoops for women like this? This is the whole thing I don't understand. And so much of the red pill is still focused on this. You know, I thought we'd be somewhere, and I know I don't always use red pill to explain or describe my channel or other content like it, but I thought we'd be somewhere in time now where most of these guys would say, you know something, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. These women are not worth me. These women aren't worth me showing my resume, dressing up in a nice-looking smart suit for our date, putting on a $1,000 watch, pulling up in a nice car, going to the gym and getting buff for. At a certain point, don't you say, the women are not worth it anymore? Why am I going to bother with that? Because I'll tell you something. If I met a nice woman, now granted, you don't want to be a fat slob. You want to dress well. You want to take care of yourself. You want to work out and hit the gym, but do it for yourself. Because the irony at the end of all of this is the best part, and I'm getting there. You want to hit the gym for yourself. If you want to dress sharp for a job, or just to look good or feel good about yourself, great. But to go out there and buy fancy watches and fancy cars and brag that you have this much money, or brag that you have a certain job, and try to prove to these awful, shallow women that basically will just give themselves to any man to be used and passed around, and yet something in you says, I want to be one of those men she's passing herself around to. Why even bother? And here's the crazy part, and this is where it seals it all up for me. When Myron says, make yourself a high-value male and go out and achieve all this so you too can sleep with these women that have high body counts, and probably they're so infested that when they take a bath, it bubbles like Mentos in a bowl of Coke. That's how much they fizz when they touch water because of all the STIs they have in them. But my whole point is, why are you doing this? So let's say you're Myron. Let's say he says, okay, become a high-value male. Go out there and get good income. Have a nice car. Wear a nice suit, put on a nice watch, pretend, or maybe you do have multiple women, or pretend you have these other women, and peacock and do all these things to prove to this scam that you are totally worth it, that you're totally worth dating. She says, okay, you sleep with her, you realize, yeah, she's shallow, not somebody I want to be with anyway, so you just sleep with her and dump her. Who wins? You didn't win. Maybe you caught something. Okay, so you got your rocks off, so what? Number 2, maybe you catch something. Then you're really the loser. And number 3, maybe she turns you down. So how would you feel as a guy that goes out and raises your SMV and you work really hard, you make this money and you buy these nice clothes and you drive around in a nice car and you try to put all this game together and you're working real hard to try to pick up a stick, and she says no and blows you off. How do you feel about yourself at that point in time? You've wasted all this time, all this energy, all this money to jump through hoops to pick up a stick, and then the stick laughs you off and tells you no. Do you feel good about yourself? Do you feel like you're winning at the game of life? Or do you feel like, wow, I went through all these steps and a skank still won't date me? That's where I think a lot of men's sadness comes from. A lot of men clicking out of the game. A lot of men saying, you know what, this isn't working for me anymore. I'm unhappy in life. My argument is this. If you want to drive a nice car, drive a nice car. Make sure you can pay it off. Don't go into debt for any of this stuff. But if you want to drive a nice car, drive a nice car. I have a nice car. But I bought it for me, not to impress other people. Go to the gym, work out to be healthy. I need to do that myself, but I'm certainly not working out for women. I do need to do it for myself, for my own health. But if you don't do it for women and you're doing it for yourself, it doesn't matter if a woman turns you down. It doesn't matter if a woman laughs you off. It doesn't matter if a woman ignores you or whatever else, because you don't care. See, all his advice is still centered around the woman. It's still centered on a woman judging you, on a woman selecting you, on a woman wanting you. Do all these things, guys. Keep your SMV high. Pretend you have other women, and you'll get more women. Okay, but that's living your life centered around women. I still think it is way better, and you will be way happier if you said, okay, I'm not thinking about women right now. I'm going to do a job that I love. I'm going to do a job that pays me well because money is important for my future plans for myself. I'm going to work out because I want to look good, or I want to feel good, or I want to live longer. I'm going to do that for myself. I'm going to buy a nice watch, not to impress women, but because I worked really hard. And I really like this certain brand of watch, or I've always wanted one, or it is me treating myself to a milestone for the success I've reached in life. All those things are fine. Then, if you got a guy walking around in a suit wearing a nice watch, he's got a nice ride, he goes to the gym and he works out and he's successful, and none of that was done with women in mind. None of that was done with women. All that was done for is him. He said, this is what I want to do. This is what's going to make me happy. This is for me. If he genuinely does that without a woman in mind, I will show you a happy, successful man. Then, if women aren't coming up to him and women aren't talking to him and women aren't flirting with him, he doesn't give a shit. He's got a great life. He's doing his own thing. He's got friends. He's got plenty of activity. He's got a successful career, or at least a job he loves. He's winning. But a guy that does this to keep his SMV high, and maybe that's not what Myron's saying, but it's certainly when the first thing he goes to is, well, you got to keep your SMV high and let these women know they're replaceable and that you've got other women on the back burner, even if you don't. Well, you're just faking it. You're just pretending. Why are you even bothering? A better response to this is why women are single. This is why women, when they get to the age of 35 and 40, are sad and depressed because they're all alone and will be for the rest of their lives. And it's why middle-aged to older men, and even some young guys out there today, are really crushing it. And they're really happy, and they're really doing well for themselves. Reason being, they've given up on worrying about women. They've given up on dating. They've given up on those distractions. And if one falls in their lap, or they meet somebody that's nice and they say, I'd like to go out with this woman, go ahead and ask her. Go ahead and go for it. Shoot your shot. But if she turns you down or it doesn't work out, it doesn't matter. You got a circle of friends and great things going on in your life. But the minute you start thinking about SMV and pretending you're this and saying you're that, and you've got to raise your value to get women like this, that's where I think he's getting it wrong. And I think a lot of men get it wrong. In my eyes, and I'll listen to arguments below, so please comment down below, but I'm telling you right now, if you live your life for you, and everything you do is for you, for the good of you, don't say, well, I'm living for me, I'm eating my 17th bowl of ice cream today, and I weigh 350 pounds, but I'm doing it for me, because in the long run, you're not going to be a happy person. You'll have health problems and other things going wrong in your life. I'm saying if you live a healthy life, do a job that you love, that pays pretty well, that you can live the lifestyle you want to live. For some people that's very low, for other people that's very high. Find what works for you and live your entire life for you and your family and your friends and the people that actually care about you. Then, if a woman sees you're successful and happy and doing well and she wants to be a part of that, she will find a way to be a part of that. But at no point should you be doing anything to prove yourself to any of these loser women. You're wasting your time, you're wasting your life, you're wasting your effort, all for somebody that's probably more than likely still going to either cheat on you, leave you, or turn you down for another dude because he's taller and better looking than you, and who's done nothing for that woman. Focus on yourselves. That's my argument on this one. And until men understand that portion of it, don't fake living a good life so that women want to date you or they think they want to be a part of your life. That's a lot of what some of these channels talk about. Here's a better idea. Actually live a good life. Actually be happy. Actually do something productive with your life. And here's the great part. If you do that, good things will happen to you. Good people will find you. You will end up having good friends. You will end up having women of quality that either completely ignore you or do want to be a part of your life. But either way, you're winning. That's the thing that I think all of these guys are missing. I don't know. Let me know what you think down below. I will see you guys in the next one.